Why do our minds insist on obsessively rewinding past conversations and replaying decisions that we've already made? It is an exhausting way to live. The brain scrutinizes every alternate possibility, refusing to rest until it finds a flaw that might not even exist. We often mistake this behavior for thinking deeply, assuming that a hyperactive mind is a sign of high-level processing. But these are two entirely different functions. Deep thought is linear. It moves toward a conclusion. Overthinking is a closed cognitive loop, trapping the mind in a cycle that provides no exit. The cycle accelerates, burning massive mental energy to keep thoughts churning, but never generates an inch of forward momentum. Clinically, this state is a form of psychological exhaustion. It feels like work, but it is actually just a drain on your cognitive resources. Overthinking isn't a strategy for solving life's problems. It is a mental prison disguised as preparation. This loop doesn't spin on its own. It is an engine, and it is fueled entirely by fear. Specific triggers keep the engine running: the terror of making a mistake, the sting of potential rejection, and the discomfort of navigating uncertainty. In an attempt to mitigate these fears, the brain tries to predict the unpredictable. This decision tree maps out that effort, where a single scenario splinters into a chaotic web of what-if branches. The mind frantically scans every branch, searching for one definitive answer that can finally soothe its baseline anxiety. But most of these branches lead to dead ends. The mind keeps searching for resolution, even when no answer exists to be found. This creates a dangerous confusion in the brain. It begins to treat the act of passive worrying as if it were active problem-solving. Beneath these surface-level fears lies a more foundational root, a profound craving for safety and control. We can see this in how overthinkers operate. They attempt to build a perfectly safe reality entirely out of internal thoughts, constructing defensive walls made of logic and what-ifs. It is an attempt to control an unpredictable external world by mastering every possible version of it internally first. Ultimately, overthinking is a malfunctioning defense mechanism. The brain's attempt to protect you is the very thing that wears you down. Because this cycle is so exhausting, it's easy to feel like your mind is broken or that you are somehow mentally weak. However, the psychology suggests something different. This mental loop is often the byproduct of hyper-awareness. Like a high-sensitivity radar, your mind picks up on subtle emotional shifts and social cues that others might miss entirely. The problem is one of calibration. Because you are so aware of these signals, your brain, driven by that need for safety, tries to solve every single one of them. The radar becomes overwhelmed by the static of its own sensitivity. Your mind isn't broken. It is simply trying too hard to protect you from things that don't actually pose a threat. The path to peace begins with a shift in perspective. It means recognizing that not every passing thought or social signal deserves your brain's full attention. You have to accept that uncertainty isn't a puzzle that needs to be solved. Sometimes the most productive thing the mind can do is stop trying to find the answer. True mental peace is only achieved when you surrender the illusion of absolute control and finally allow the mind to stop